Fuck yes. Last session of my training week wrapped up, because my training week runs from like Friday to Wednesday. So just finished my leg session, my second one of the week. I checked in with my coach this morning. He's in a different time zone at the moment. So normally I get it back late this afternoon / tonight, but I don't think I'll get it back till tomorrow morning. But that's fine, there's really no drama there. So yeah, tomorrow's rest day, which I'm very keen for. But yeah, fuck, training has been great. Outside of the gym, I've been feeling very fatigued and drained and just like tired. But once I get going into my sessions, like my first set, I'll just take like a massive progression and the set feels so good. And then that just gives me such good momentum. And I just have, yeah, really good sessions. And like on that leg day just there, that's the leg day that's had like 2 sets of lat pull downs added at the end of it. And you'd think like after an entire leg session, you'd be pretty fried and you'd struggle to like get a good pump or like that neural connection into a good set at the end. But yeah, even after a full leg day, I do these 2 sets of lat pull downs, and yeah, after one set, I just have such a good pump. And just like, it's not even just the pump, it's just like I'm really connecting well with it, which is awesome. Body weight was around the mid to high 115s pretty much the last 5 or so days, but then this morning I was 114.9, which I did have a feeling like on the food that I'm on that things weren't just going to keep going up, things were going to kind of level out or even pull back a bit, just as, you know, I reach more time with of consistent days, same food, you know, less variables moving around. Also, 3 weeks today until I leave back to Australia. I think I've mentioned I'm only visiting, I'm not like moving back. I'm just back there for 3 weeks, primarily for my sister's wedding, but just coincidentally it's also going to be back for my birthday, my pop's birthday and Easter. So a bunch of stuff going on. But yeah, don't know what else to yap about, but I'll probably chat to you guys more soon. Time for my big bowl of cream of rice with banana, mulberries, honey, almond butter, or maybe cashew butter. We'll see what I do. But yeah, I like to close the blinds, make it dark. Post-workout, if I have I get a lot of natural light into my room, and if post-workout I have all that light coming in, I feel like, yeah, the glare is kind of like, gives me a headache, especially after legs. Alright guys, as I mentioned, I was feeling good before. That's why I picked up the camera when I had those post-workout endorphins, but yeah, feeling fried now. I've actually tried to film like this video that you're watching now like 2 times previously throughout the last week. And I get like 5 minutes of talking done and I watch it back and I just looked so fucking tired and like low energy. I'm like, oh, doesn't really like, not a very nice video to watch. I just seem so fucking, yeah, low energy. So that's how it's been. But I'll just touch on that quickly. I think it's down to just me having this acute rise in body weight. But my fasted weights when I was in Bali, like only 2 weeks ago, were like, you know, high 110s, low 111s. And then when I was weighing myself before bed, I was only like high 113s, you know, a 2.5, 3 kilo kind of flux from morning to night. But although my weights have been like high 115s while I've been here, when I weigh myself before bed, it's like 120. So I'm like walking around, my body's just carrying a lot more weight. And like I maybe have mentioned, I'm getting confused with like what I recorded in the previous videos that I never uploaded. It hasn't been a negative thing in terms of like body composition. It's just got to do with the compounds that have gone back in since I'm back in Thailand that I didn't have access to in Bali. And I've been checking my blood pressure. Blood pressure is fucking all great. I think averaging like just over 100 over like high 50s. So not as low as it has been ever, but I'm also not as light and as I have been in the past. And my average resting heart rate was high in Bali, likely from all the stress. and that's been trending down. I think my average yesterday was like 49. So that's been coming down. So it's not like my body is super unhealthy in terms of like when I'm talking about the body weight. It's just got to do with it came on quickly, a very acute kind of jump. And anecdotally, and just from talking to other bodybuilders and stuff, like that is something that will take a bit of a toll on the body. No matter if it's lean composition or not, just being a heavier person, carrying that around when the body hasn't had time to adjust, it can just be quite draining, and you'll just, subjectively feel a bit shit. And generally, it seems like you just have to kind of ride it out, and the body will adjust, find its new normal state, and then things will be good. Anyway, like I said, weight was kind of holding around the high 115s, and then had a bit of a drop this morning. I've checked in today, but I don't expect a food increase or anything. I don't really want one. It's still only been 2 weeks today since I've been back. I still just think myself and my coach just want to see more time with the consistent variables of like being back in this environment, and another week of seeing what the weight's going to do. And then that might have like some good data to make some decisions of what we do with food. But then of course there'll only be like another 2 weeks from then till I go back to Australia. So that's going to be all a different changed environment again. So not ideal circumstances, but definitely doesn't mean I can't be progressing. And with how my training has been going, I just feel so confident I'm adding some tissue. I might put up over the screen while I've been yapping. You guys may have already been watching it while I've been yapping, some training footage throughout the last week. It's being like super accurate with my training, keeping it on the target muscle, getting a good like connection, and just feeling, like, especially with my lats, which you guys know are probably my weakest muscle group now. I'd say that my weakest muscle group is my lats, and obviously been training for a long time, and I've heard all the cues and the tips and tricks in the book, right? So like, and I've been sending training footage extensively to multiple different coaches over the years, like, and there's obviously still something could be doing better. Obviously, you can always be doing better. Of course, there's going to be a genetic element to it. These are like my cop-outs that I'll get out of the way here. I also think having quite long arms, like my arms are 6'10" wingspan, so even like long for my height, I think that makes it more difficult than maybe others, to not get like bicep and traps involved. And then once my biceps and traps became quite strong points, they are just very capable and willing to take over or just initiate on all kind of back exercises. But where I'm going with this is, especially on these lat pull downs that I've been doing, I've never done them on this exact belt driven, stack before with this bar, and I'm getting like such a good connection on it, and getting like, and pump isn't everything, of course, we know that, but it is something. And the fact I'm able to get a solid connection and a pump on them after an entire leg day, I think that's quite promising sign. So I've actually got those in twice a week now. And hopefully we can see some progress to the old back. I'll give you guys a look at the check-in visuals from this morning. Pretty happy with how things have been traveling since I've been back. Now, I'm going to be fully transparent. And on the screen, I'm going to show you guys 3 or 4 different kind of check-in lighting spots. And we'll go from like the shittest and the most humbling and revealing ones, and then we'll progress up to like the best lighting angle that makes me look great, which I'd normally just show you. So on my check-in morning, I go into the posing room after I've done my steps, and I do like a couple rounds in the posing room at the gym, and I use that as the video that I send to my coach as like a posing video. I then come back to my room and pose in some very harsh front-on natural light. There's barely enough room for me to fit to do it with like where I need to stand and where the balcony is. That's like the super revealing one, and I screenshot that video as the pictures that I send through to my coach. And then after that's done, I stand in this side-on natty light, which is like makes me look the best. And I do that just to kind of like maybe make myself feel a bit better, get some good check-in pics to feel good. All right, it's the next day, Thursday, a rest day. You can probably hear the washing machine / dryer in the background because rest days are sheet washing days. So yeah, got that going down. Unfortunately, the air pollution today in Bangkok is very bad. Obviously, there's pros and cons to living everywhere in the world, different places, but one of the downsides is the air pollution can get super bad here. And in particular, the PM 2.5 particles, which are like, I don't really know the fucking signs of it, but I guess they're like this certain particle that's like obviously small, you can't see it with your eyes, but you're breathing it onto your lungs sort of thing. So I was checked, and today, like the PM 2.5 particle concentration is like 11 times above what the World Health Organization like maximum like standard is. So quite bad. So I do have these special masks that filter out those particles. So yeah, I'm going to be chucking that on when I step outside today. Often it's the worst at this time, like in the morning, and it kind of can get better later in the day. But I am about to walk from here to like the train station, which is about maybe, I don't even know, less than a kilometer away, but then catch a train and then another walk to a cafe where I'm going to do some work on a laptop, enjoy a iced coffee and catch up with a mate then for my meal too. But yeah, guys, got my check-in back from my coach, like I mentioned yesterday, that I was going to get it back probably late last night and woke up to it this morning. And yeah, as I expected, no change to food, but I think the words that came out of his mouth was like, yep, you've grown a lot in a week, so no need to change anything, which is good. Got some good feedback on some exercises, like form critique that I sent, and a couple little posing tweaks that we're always slowly working on, which is good. So just kind of like a rinse and repeat week, which I'm super keen for. Weight was down another 200 grams this morning, so 114.7. So I think my heaviest weight since I've been back was like 116.1. So down a bit from that, but definitely looking a lot like tighter visually, which is cool. Also, thought I'd just update the vlog on my random life as it's unfolding. So my lease in this current condo was meant to end at like the 7th of May, but I've gone ahead and committed to extending that for 1 month through to June. So now when I get back from Australia, I'm going to have like 7-8 solid weeks here before that lease is due to end. At that point, I'm pretty sure I'm going to go to Portugal and be training at like Mr. Big Man Evolution Gym and maybe Blackout Gym. Try and get an Airbnb somewhere in that like area between those two gyms and stay, I don't know how long, maybe like a month or something. And then like my future is super up in the air. I've kind of just been winging it for the longest time now. It feels like the last like 2 years, it almost feels like that. But yeah, like if I was going to say come back to Thailand and stay here longer term, like another 6 month or get a 12-month lease, I think I would definitely want to get a bigger place than this studio apartment. I definitely want to get at least a 1-bedroom where I have like a sleeping room, like a bedroom completely separate from everything else, and like a bigger kitchen, because it's been fine and like it's good, but it's just one of those little things when I feel like the pull calling me back to Australia and those comforts and the things that I enjoy about Australia, it's having more space, having a bigger apartment and just like a huge massive kitchen and like being able to be like set up in that sense. So if I was going to stay here, I would want to get a bigger place, which would be no dramas. I've already been scoping out a few different options. And then I've had the thought of like, you know, after Portugal, going and doing a bunch more travel of like some European countries I haven't done, like going and doing, like obviously I'm going to say some cities in here, they aren't all countries, but like Warsaw, Budapest, Hungary, Poland, Switzerland, what was one that had Denmark, like go to Copenhagen and do all of that. And then I was even thinking about going to the US and doing a bit of the US. And then I thought, maybe do I go back to Australia and then just like stay with family for like 2 months as like a little, you know, period of time back there, stay 2-3 months, and then come back to Thailand and get a place for like a year, a lease here. Yeah, I just feel like if I go back to Australia and get a lease right now, like a year-long lease, I feel like I'm gonna have this like thing in the back of my mind, like this itch of like, oh, I didn't accomplish, I didn't like do the things I wanted to do and really go and just like get it all out of my system, this travel and living in different places, having all these experiences. And I feel like the next time I do that in Australia, I want to get like a dog so badly. I want to make a place like my home and have a bit more of like a long-term aspect to it. And I think maybe, and like accumulating all these different bits and pieces that, you know, once you get like your couch, I have all this other stuff in storage, but it becomes such a hassle, and then it chains you down to a location, then you don't have the ability to go and live somewhere overseas for 6 months, or it becomes a massive inconvenience to do so. And the next time I kind of put those roots down in Australia, I want to not be worried about, oh, I shouldn't get this because what if I want to sell it? I want to just like be really like with a longer term mindset, which I don't think I'm going to be prepared to do maybe for another year or 2, 3 years, who knows? So yeah, that's just a random little like thing that's going through my mind. I'm someone like a lot of people that just loves certainty and like knowing what's going on. And there's this like term or phrase, whatever you want to call it. Let me try and think of what it was. It's like you can either have the certainty of misery or the misery of uncertainty. Obviously, take that with a grain of salt. Life isn't just that black and white. But it's just like, yeah, something that just gets me kind of thinking about how the spice of life is just is variety and all these different things happening. And I really crave my routine and structure, and I'm to a point that it's a weakness of mine. Like it's a weakness how I can get put into like turmoil if like things change. I don't know what's going on. There's all this uncertainty, and I need to be more adaptive at that and more resilient at handling those changes and feeling like and still be able to be happy and like thriving in those times. So that's why it's been good to push myself out of my comfort zone with like, oh, I don't know what's happening. I'm going to go to Portugal for a bit and just kind of like being very transient and going with the flow. I don't know how I got onto this fucking ramble. But yeah, I'm going to get me a little backpack packed with my laptop, some low-calorie almond milk, some stevia, and get my mask on so I don't fucking breathe in particles onto my lungs, and start walking to the train. And yeah, I might vlog a little bit of like the cafe and the meal later on, and we'll see where this vlog goes. Got carried away yapping and completely forgot to vlog or show any of that meal, but it was basically 2 bits of sourdough, some sous vide chicken, 2 eggs, some eggplant, some cucumber. Yeah. Ooh, here comes the train. Alright, I got an air fryer. I've just been like pan frying all of my stuff the whole time I've been here, and then who knows, with only like a few months left in this place, I just decided now is the time to get an air fryer. So I'll probably be binning this in like after 7 weeks of use. But anyway, it means we get to chef up meal 3 today in an air fryer, which is cool. I think this was like the cheapest one they had, but it was like about $50 off its normal price. So shit. So yeah, this was like $95. Anyway, I'm sure you all know what an air fryer looks like, but this is what we're dealing with. An Electrolux one. I think it's like 3.5 liters, so it should be big enough for one person. And the veggies that I'll be putting in there. Yeah. Anyway. All right, everyone, we're gonna wrap this video here. How's this butt? I'm getting the classic fucking painful nose pimple, and it feels like it's like right, right behind the middle of like underneath my nose there. And every time I just like breathe or slightly twitch my face, it's like so painful, like a big blind pimple coming through. So that's not ideal. But yeah, a bit of a random vlog, but hopefully a good little update on the process and the progress with this off season. And it's kind of like a rinse and repeat week going ahead. I'm going to just keep smashing out this training. My sleep's been dialed. Food has been super nutritious, and like, obviously I'm not going to miss on my meals. But yeah, I know there's just so much progress still, like easily there for the taking, both performance wise in the gym, and then just what that's going to result in visually throughout the week. So yeah, I've got my 4th meal cooking away in that new air fryer. I'm going to finish that up. And I've already edited all of this vlog except for this little outro. So then I'll get this, try and get uploaded tonight. We'll see. Not very likely with the quality of my fucking internet at the moment. That's a whole other story. Anyway, hope everyone is having an amazing day. Anyway, bye.